Oh, I was saying like we're indigenous, migrant bodies, African American, Asian American, like these identities are mostly policed and suppressed, and as Cassie was saying, silence in these Western institutions, right? You're not able to say with your art that may become too political, or say with your art may be pushing pushing against their agenda, right? On respectability politics, and so we have this opportunity to do and be and exist as Kelly was saying in these spaces, and then art allows us to do that. And I think, yeah, if I'm yeah, art allows us to do that. And I thank you, Sarah, for like even allowing me to be seen. And that's another thing
You
too, right?
need
To
to
be
be
seen,
seen.
I
You
right?
need to
see.
be seen. You need to be heard. Are you kidding me? I'm walking down the street, I'm downtown, I run into Jay, and then it's the greatest experience of my day.
Aw.
Uh,
Just want
No,
to
I
seriously.
see you.
add to what Jay was saying too. So the thing about art is how boring would our lives be without it? Like we need it to add color to the mundane. Like without art, like it's a form of therapy in a way too. And if you want to take the political component, it doesn't matter what medium of art that you choose. Sometimes not everybody's able to express themselves like with words. Sometimes they're shy, they don't have the confidence, or they're just not able to talk to the crowds or talk to people about how they're feeling. And I find for me, art is healing, and I can express
Yeah.
my deepest emotions. I can express when I'm vulnerable. So I become vulnerable through my art, which a lot of people do. It's the way that they feel, it's how they share. So if they have a political statement that they want to share, but they can't say it verbally, you speak it through your art. You speak it through your painting. You speak it through your dance. And art, no matter what form, brings community together.
Absolutely.
And that's the wonderful thing about art and spaces like this. Everybody brings something different to the table, and it's all about sharing. And it just, this in itself, there's a sense of community, which is what we need right now from being isolated for so long. And to what you were saying about, you know, you had this time to reflect. And the thing about being isolated and during a pandemic is you're not wearing all these masks, right? We're at home, we're ourselves, and we're getting comfortable with ourselves. We're gaining weight. Well, I did for sure. But you know, you forget how to be social. But you're not wearing the masks that you wear every day, so you have more time to be in your own space and to get to know yourself a little better. And I think that comes through in the art as well. So it's I love the movie that we watched. I thought that was so powerful. A good friend of mine is a refugee from Syria as well. So I hope she's watching. Hi Zara, just in case she is. And I love that. I love getting, you know, using art as a way, as a medium to share experiences, or to show people who normally wouldn't have that opportunity to understand what's going on in different places or from different perspectives. And like I love being able to, you know, hear the narrative from other people from different cultures. And I think it's amazing. So, you know, being blessed for everybody who's here and contributing, and I think it's amazing. I think you're all amazing.
Oh, never.
Oh, you're
You're,
amazing.
you're amazing.
Yeah, really.
So
That's
much.
so
I think
lovely.
that speaking of that, like that last scene for me was so powerful, where like on the TV screen was talking about the earthquake, like you could feel the earthquake based on the match, when they were literally going through an earthquake where the roof and the sound was coming through, and I thought the irony and the political yeah, the political and the I don't know, it just made it more real. As Kelly was saying, like you're saying, other people experience this through this medium, and I think for me, seeing that, because the mind forgets that Syria was going through all of these wars and these factions, and so time go by and you forget about these things, and then seeing it again in front of my face, it all of the memories flush back into into this present moment, that people are living right here, right now, who are going through these traumas, um, and um, and for her to be brave enough to tell her story in a traumatic way and going through a pandemic, it's also, just another powerful statement, of just the human spirit and the creativity of human spirit, and yeah, just that resilience. And art gives us that space to be resilient as well, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I love how she said like she felt like she had a duty. Because I
yeah,
felt like I really related with that. Like if you have the ability, if you have like the voice, the ability to express yourself, the time, the platform, like, you know, you feel like you have to do it. You feel like you're meant to do it. Like you're supposed to share, and especially as like people with intersectional identities, like we have to communicate uh, these things. I don't know. I feel like otherwise that knowledge gets lost, and that's why I feel like I don't know. I've been very stubborn about Borderless. Like, could just drop it every year. I'm like, that could just be cool. It was one cool thing. It was like awesome to connect, but like I feel like it's an act of protest, like every year. It's not like a protest, but it's like, like a big roar. It's like a big, like, here we are still. It's like claiming, just putting a name too, right? Because like if you're not a part of the dominant culture, circle, society, I don't know, whatever, let's just talk about Peterborough in general, community, then you get lost because you're all these like little bits and pieces and moments and not this like movement. But I feel like we're a movement of people. We're like so many different people, and if we can just stay together and like keep connecting and like every once in a while keep making noise and having these like discussions, then like that idea stays alive. And you just have to like keep like adding to the fire and just like keep it alive. um yeah, with that, yeah, yeah, thank you, Yona. It's a big wave. Hello, we are here. This is our art. This is who we are. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, if you're listening right now, you're watching, please consider supporting our artists further and donating to Borderless Music and Arts Festival so that we can continue to thrive. Not only survive, thrive.
Be stronger together.
Right? Like look at the power we have right now just by
Look at
being
these
together
biceps.
on the virtual, in the sky, in the airwaves.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Jay, do you want to introduce yourself in your film?
Sure. So my name is Jay. I'm a Trent mature student. I have to put mature there. Um, I'm I'm a struggling English major. I have terrible grammar, but in my spare
Beautiful
time,
language.
thank you. In my spare time, I write bit of poetry, short stories, and yeah, that. Also, the two pieces that I did. One, should I get into that or should I like?
Yeah.
So the
Well,
two pieces.
yeah, get into it, yeah. Then we
Okay.
play it.
Um. Oh my God. Okay. The
Or if you
first.
want, you can play it. We can play it, and then you can get into it.
No, you
What do
know
you
what?
like?
Yeah, play it and then
Yeah,
we get into it.
yeah,
And then
let's
get
do
into
it.
it. Okay.
All right, Danny, take us away.
Hi, my name is Jay. I am a mature student at Trent University in Peterborough, and today I will be presenting two of my poetry pieces for Borderless. The first one is entitled "They Say Black Men Can Fly." They say black men can fly, yet they keep landing on their heads. Easy blackness, steady as she, they, he goes. I want to believe in the words of my mother that easy blackness is not narrowed or whittled down to white bones. I want to taste the fruits and flowers of a labor, of the sweat rolled down her back, and the friction of needlework in her fingers. But easy blackness is made with sweet lies and beauty. In each of her scars lies a difference of sound, heartbeat, and story. Mother calls me to the table, but I want more than just bread. My easy blackness hungers for flight, not buried in a past, not buried in diversity, not buried in inclusion. We want to be among the stars. My blackness is not easy. So the second piece is called My Ex. You forgot the time you keyed my car and mashed a rock through the window. Nothing was stolen or tampered with, just the rock. Sitting there like a child waiting to be picked up. I knew it was you. I knew the triggers of unhappiness. Is love also an expression of anger as in a disfigured car? Or is love a cry for attention when attention has been lost? No matter how the tongue chews it, guilt was vomited and written over this memory. And for 2 years I chased and hunted down what I could not give myself, which is an opportunity to learn, to fail, and fail some more. I discovered that guilt and shame are unserviceable. They are an awful ministry. Instead I sink my body into the water, the religions of my birth. I sink into the muddy towels. My skin feels so light. I just want to thank Sarah and the entire team of Borderless for allowing me this opportunity to be here and to do this. And I hope you love and enjoy my work, and you can follow me. All of my handles are in this video, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Woo.
Forgive me for messing up your name, Sarah. I said Sarah.
You can call me. I always tell people, please don't worry what you call me. I like Sada, Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. No, I actually don't like Sarah. So yeah, just call me anything.
So, yeah, I guess the second was kind of self-explanatory. But the first one, I actually did that piece for a. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I did it for a Dodi, which is a Dodi is a Southern region, same gender loving organization, and they wanted me to write a piece talking about, I guess, being black and what it means to be black. And for me, I guess the story comes from my mother. Out of the womb, I was birthed out in this blackness into this world that made me. And I remember a piece from Songs of Solomon where I forgot the character's name, but he was like on the roof, and he was trying to take flight, and that I ran with that, and for black people, I feel like we're always on this place where we're trying to fly over our oppression or fly over our over our precariousness and over this thing called life that sometimes we find ourselves in, and so taking flight is taking on this idea that I need to transcend. And so that's where the story of my poetry piece, the first one, came from. And then secondly, I had this ex, and we all talk about our stories, right? But I had this ex that literally we were broken up, and I was also at a point where I was still not sure if I was gay or I'd like men, But I was like, well, we broke up, but I was to the gay club, and I guess him seeing my car at the gay club when I broke up with him, knowing that I said I wasn't gay, kind of infuriated him. I don't know, but when I got out of the club, I saw just The Rock just sitting there, literally like a child, in the back seat of the car. And so I think I wanted, and I've not like in a long time thought about it, um, or written about it. And so I guess me writing that was again processing where I'm at and where I've come from. And these are this the rock and the shatteredness is all part of, my story. He is my story. That rock is my story. That broken is that story. And I became like, I guess you can say, um, I became more mature about what I want in relationships and myself since then. Um, if that makes
It's
sense.
getting really messed up to figure yourself out, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. He was
What does
mad.
the rock? What does that rock symbolize in your life as it like entered your car? Now, is it still in your car, or what's happened to this rock? Is it inside your now?
But the thing is, like, at first I thought it was like somebody was trying to break in, but there was like all of my stuff was still in the car. So, you know, yeah. So I knew it was just like a scene of passion, a scene of somebody who just wanted to destroy me, but didn't know how to. And the closest thing they can get to was my car. At least the rock for me represent, I guess, for me, it shattered that illusion that I had about myself. That this is truly who I am. I love men, and he needed to demonstrate that, and I guess the rock kind of demonstrated. I don't know, get all kind of deep with the rock, but the rock was. But yeah, also too, um, I guess if you're gonna stick with the rock analogy, like I, in terms of my psyche, I think I did hit rock bottom. Um, I was so lost. I was incredibly lost, and I think the rock reminded me that I need to get out, that I need to be honest. And that's the way out for me, was being honest about my situation and honest about my sexuality. So he did me a favor. He literally did. And even though it was kind of violent, but I think change is violent sometimes.
Yeah.
Nothing happens on an easy street. It
Sometimes
has
it
to be.
takes like a really extreme reaction
Yeah.
for you to really think about it. I don't know, The Rock too. I was like, I don't know, maybe it's breaking through, yeah, like your mask or your story too. He's like fuck you, like
Yeah.
you think you're this, you said
Yeah.
you're this. Wait, who are you? Throws the
Oh,
rock.
yeah. Yeah.
Oddly enough, we have teachings on rocks, so we call them grandfather, so Neshomas, and they're storytelling rocks. So the rocks tell a story. So you can imagine what your rock, the story it would, he would
Mm.
tell, that Neshomas would tell. But
Yeah.
I love the symbolism with the rock because we definitely have our own teachings with it. So that's kind of cool. I mean, not
Mm.
fully through it or, vandalize your car, but
Yeah, we all sound very supportive of this rock.
Yeah, so many years later, we're still talking about the rock,
I
and
know.
continuing on when you tell the future generations about your rock story, Jay.
I like y'all don't know about rocks. In my day, rock was, you know,
Rock's shattered illusions.
shattered. Yeah, it was like I said. As a young person, for me, it was a big deal because I was like, oh my god, I gotta fix this glass. But the glass, the glass. How should I say this? And I'm trying to sound very smart saying it, but like the glass can be fixed, right? But
yeah.
if I don't fix myself, I don't have a shop to go to fix myself, right? That work I had to do on my own. I had to realize that. And that's why I think too about going back into the waters, the religions of my birth. I started to do the things um, that set me on the right way, which was again community, reaching out to my family, um, and not just any family, but family who were also queer, and support myself around them who were, give me that environment of love and that sustaining love and that reaffirming love and reminded me that you don't need to hide, that you don't need to pretend, especially in Caribbean culture where gay men get slaughtered and shoot down and just for being who you are. Um, so there was all of that going in too, but I had to return back to that love space, um, and sit there. And so I didn't date for, I think I would say I didn't date for like a year and a half, since then, because I wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to be careful and intentional with who I am and who I want to share that relationship with. So yeah, that I didn't realize how much that piece meant to me until till just now.
It's really beautiful. I hope that whoever's listening to that it's reaching someone who it needs to reach as well. You
Yeah,
know?
Mm.
yeah. Find the rock.
That's okay. I liked
Yeah.
the another part that I really liked was how your blackness wasn't easy,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know? Yeah, sorry, I was like, I saw the cutout and I was like, oh, are we cutting? No, okay. Yeah, I like that you said that and that idea because, yeah, I feel like, people always want to hear like the story of like survival or like success and like, you overcame things and everything's fine and wow, look at you now and look at where you can be. I don't know. And that optimism and that like trying to like bring people up, I think is the intention usually can sometimes just be like subconsciously like quieting, like silencing like all the discontents you have or like the pain you have or like anger, for example, because you don't want to be seen as like you know you don't want your emotions to, you want to be that full complex human being. You don't want like certain emotions to be okay and certain emotions to not, and that some of those emotions are hard for people but they're the most important and they're like the most, you know maybe a discomforting thing for some people, but that is like where your power and your like that strength that people are wanting to like, channel into, that's where they're coming from. But like you're not supposed to just, I don't know, people need to, I feel personally, and I feel like this like in personal situations, social situations all the time, that we should get better at accepting like hard things, like hard conversations, like someone talking and they're angry about something or impassioned about something, and it not being like, oh, look at how intense that person is, or oh, why are we getting into this, we're just having like a good time or something. I just feel like that can sometimes subconsciously happen, and that I really like that you're calling attention to that whole experience.
Yeah, especially during a time like, um, see, persons like Barack Obama were kind of like, but we saw that idea of a post-racial world right after Trump, right? All of like
Mm-hmm.
right after Trump's succession, right? But also too, we see Barack Obama in this space that looks kind of successful, but we don't see the racism and the division and the hardship and the poverty that he had to climb out of to get in these spaces, or the hurdles he had to climb. Even while as a president, he had to curtail and critique and constantly police his own self in order to appear as the respectable black man, right? And so even in that, he doesn't have it easy. Um, and the reason I also wanted to say that too is because coming to Canada was not an easy feat. And also still being here in Canada as a black person, as a minority, as a migrant, it's still not an easy feat. You know, it's a great to have like people like you in my life, right? And I celebrate that. But there are instances like the 2 weeks. I don't know if you remember reading my story. Just walking down in Peterborough Street, this lady out of nowhere called me the N word. You know, or I was at the guy who was fixing my computer I would say last spring, and he jacked it up or messed it up, whatever. And I went to him, and I was very angry, and he was like, "Don't you
Which you
make me?"
should be.
I was very angry, but he was like, don't make, don't." We said, "Don't make me call them," or something like that. I was like, "Call who?" You know, obviously I know
Wow. Wow.
so, you know, and people may interpret that as whatever, but I interpret that as him thinking about calling the cops on
Yeah,
me,
it's an authority. It's like, what are you saying? How could that be interpreted as anything else? You know, it's a power thing.
right? So yeah. So even in the progressive country as Canada, as we want to think it is, there's layers of it that or these everyday experiences that remind you of who you are and how you show up in the world, and that's just it.
How you're
That's just it.
perceived.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Sorry, it got very intense.
No, thank you. Why are you saying sorry? Don't say sorry.
It's
I'm
nice
just
to
like
feel
taking in this
uncomfortable.
moment. It's actually very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I find being in Canada for 2 years and then having lived in the US and having lived abroad in Asia, certain countries in Asia, there are certain layers and kind of a facade that I see in Canadian culture where there's always this perceived kindness, but in practice and in institutions, like it's nowhere to be found. It's like so ruthless, which is very interesting to
An
engage with.
illusion.
I
It's a
mean,
big old rock.
exactly. I mean, you know, just uncovering, the bodies of young indigenous children. It's just another again. It breaks the illusion that this is like we've moved forward, but or this is not who we are, right? We're not savages. We're not mean. We're not violent. We're not brute. And then boom, we see all of this death, and it shatters the illusion that we're in this homogenized, multicultural, progressive space. And even in that, these weak ass apologies doesn't kind of um, it doesn't alleviate the harm or doesn't reparate the harm that is caused, right? But we're still trying to move forward as a nation. We're still Canada, and that's just not. We're not. It's just not it, right? Being indigenous is not easy. Being black isn't easy. And being Asian American is not easy. And we too, like you said, we get too comfortable with being comfortable.
Yep. Too comfortable being uncomfortable because that
Yeah.
is like Canada. That is the thing that Canadian people need to confront. I feel like because you don't realize how comforted you are that you're so discomforted by the world. Like it's you that is so comfortable that everything else is uncomfortable for you because like the rest of us are going through life
Exactly.
having
Yeah.
really intense experiences, still surviving, learning, thriving, growing through it somehow. Not all of us, unfortunately, which is really sad, but they're so comfortable that it's discomforting to hear that we're living these kinds of lives, that other people do have these experiences, that these histories are alive today, that they are continuous. I think they don't want to shatter the illusion. They like the illusion. You want to be in the illusion if you're comfortable, if you feel already okay, you know?
That kind of remind me of the scene, Shashida, right? Is it Shashida?
Go ahead.
Shahed was it remind me of the scene where like again the final moment again really really stuck out to me where uh The little boy was transfixed onto the television because the soccer was kind of giving him a little bit of escape
Mm.
against all of what the backdrop of what's happening. I think for a lot of Canadians too, in terms of being comfort, they, we out of this pandemic now. People are patioing. People, we all. This is nice, right? People patioing, people are traveling, but that becomes a smoke screen. That becomes an escape to the realities of what is really going on, right? And not
Mhm.
like we just it gets blurred, really,
Mhm.
really blurred. Um, and the issues that plague communities, goes in the background. It literally does go in the background. I don't know. That's what I'm going with that. That one scene where we're just focusing on that next vacation. We're focusing on, but we don't see where like homeless people. I can't remember the name of the park in Toronto are being policed out of those spaces. We don't want to see
Yeah,
that.
really violently.
Really, but like we don't want to see that because we now having our mimosas on it or the gyms are open back up. Like we
Yeah.
don't we
You're
we're
walking by and
comfortable.
you're like, oh, I don't want to see this.
Exactly. Or the
Buzzkill.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And still Curve Lake to this day still don't have clean water right now.
Horrible.
But yeah, so it's not easy.